Well, this is the ThunderVolt Zapper. Pretty amazing product, actually. You know, I'm going to tell you what is claimed to be about the product, because I really can't prove it, because I can't run this on any kind of instrumentation or oscilloscope, and I really wouldn't know how to run it anyway. I guess you could probably run a scope from just this red terminal to the ground, and it's got 4 terminals, but the real unique advantage of this is that it has a body sensor, which is this orange terminal, and then it has another frequency that goes from anywhere from 10,000 hertz to 300,000 hertz, and as the body sensor picks up a microbe, this frequency will adjust to that microbe, then it works off this ground. So I'm going to state right up from the get-go, the one thing you got to really watch for, though, is do not short out the foot pads. It comes with 2 foot pads and 2 handhelds. You're not going to be able to short out the handhelds to each other, because he's put a wooden dowel between there, so you hold on to the handhelds. With the wooden dowel, you're not going to accidentally connect the handheld to the handheld. I guess you can drop the handheld on the floor and hit a foot pad. If that happens, you're going to fry the circuitry. There's a trade-off between cost of the product and sensitivity of the electronics. The electronics, according to the owner or the manufacturer, will last for many years. It's warranted for a year, but it should last for many years if you use it right. So I'm making double sure I'm using it right. As a matter of fact, I have this here. You see, that's the plug, and I have this going through actually 2 surge protectors. And when I switch around for another configuration, these wires, depending on if I want it on the left hand, the right foot, or whatever it is, for these paddles or the foot pads, I make sure the unit is not only turned off here, but also when it's plugged in, it's turned off at the surge protector. In case I'm switching a wire and I accidentally knock that on or something, I don't know, just to make double sure. It also even has an Emf Blocker, which you get, static, you get electricity coming out of your utility line, and this wire plugs into that. That goes into the unit right here. So you got the power wire and EMF blocker. I have that on an extension cord, because according to the instructions, it's best to use it with a wall outlet ground, the ground on a wall outlet, like a 3-pronged wall outlet, whereby it's at least 3 or 4 feet away from where you're plugged into this, which it is. It's probably about 10 feet away or more. Let's see, more like 12 feet away or so. So the actual power adapter is a 2-prong adapter, but this is a EMF blocker for any kind of noise that's coming through the utility lines. Now yesterday, he also has the instructions come on his thumb drive here. See, it says instructions, ThunderVolt Zapper. What I like about this product, though, I said there's the one caution that you don't want to short nothing out. Don't short nothing out. Make sure it's all set up. I actually have this set up on a double rug. There's a rug over a rug. You want to make sure that the surface is not wet, which makes this connected to that. Now, I'm wearing shoes right now, but you would wear bare feet. You put your heels, the midsole, or the ball of the feet on the bare metal. It's zinc, so it's not going to affect you. It's not going to be any kind of harm. I actually used this, I'd say about easy 3 hours yesterday. Easy. I was going to use it for about 30-40 minutes, and 2 things. And actually, I'm showing here the different configurations. He shows the mid-body focus, upper body focus. So in other words, you got, here's the red, orange, green, and white. red, orange, green, and white, and it'll show you, like, you can have, whatever, the left foot, left hand, right foot, different configurations, mid-body focus, upper body focus, and lower body focus, and it's 24 configurations. You probably don't need to use all 24, but I mean, but you want to use more than a few, maybe several. But what I was saying was, yesterday I didn't expect to use this 30-40 minutes, more than 30-40 minutes. I used it for several hours. It was probably 4 hours or something. One session was like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 hours. The other session was an hour and 15 minutes. And I did switch up the wires. In between the sessions, I would turn off the power here, then turn off the power there, and change the wires to another configuration. But yesterday I was out. Now, I can't really give you a feedback because I also have the body tester. I just did a video on that a couple days ago. I've been using the power zapper extensively. I've been using it for years, but every once in a while I stop using it. But I started using it again for like 16 hours a day. It was around November 2nd. And I tested his body tester on November 11th. That's the power zapper, right? And I tested the ThunderVolt body tester for results on the power zapper. And I actually had very good body power. It was good. It was very good. So I'm not going to be able to use his tester to see how much better I got because I'm already very good. It's not going to get that much better. So, and I can't put this on a scope. So, but I could tell you what it does. But I could tell you what I felt yesterday. The reason I started using it more often, more than I expected, is I felt like being energized. It was subjective, very subjective. But I was out. Remember yesterday, last night, after working, doing a lot of manual work and stuff, and hauling stuff to get thrown away and all this garbage. I had to take out my little Suzuki 4x4 and throw stuff away and load it up. And there's a bunch of stuff I was doing yesterday. And I was out there, I mowed the lawn. I was mowing the lawn with a little 22-inch hand mower, going through all the leaves and stuff, chopping them up really good until it ran out of gas. Which, it takes a couple hours for that thing to run out of gas. And usually by the time I'm doing all this all-day work, by the end of the day, I'm really tired, So I started using this thing. And it was weird that it seemed like the tiredness was going away, the fatigue. I don't know. I've been having this theory about the Clark positive offset being electron donor. Now, Power Zapper has a pedestal offset. It's even more higher. The voltage never drops to zero. There's always a little bit of a voltage there. This one's got, and I don't know if, I'm just telling you what the manufacturer says. It's a 3.6 positive offset. It's, in other words, it goes from 10 volts down to 3.6 volts. It doesn't even go anywhere near zero. So I felt very energized. Another weird thing was, a lot of times they take this food, what do you call it, those hot sprinkles, I put them on food. And one time, it was like a few days ago, man, I must have got a sprinkle on my tongue, and it was caused the side of my tongue to be real sore, right? And it wasn't going away. And yesterday, I might have got from these hot pepper sprinkles. Normally it don't do that, but one side of my tongue was all sore, right? So, and I was thinking, it was kind of weird that this happened, but when I was using this, I noticed it was going away. I was thinking, I don't even think the frequencies can reach up there in that part of the body, but then, I don't know, maybe the blood is circulating something from an infection from that the hot sprinkles caused. I don't know. And it started going away. And I felt really energized. And I actually got up earlier this morning too. After being up late last night, I felt fine without being tired, without even drinking coffee. This is the first time use. Now, if this theory is right, it's it's not me saying this because, I think this guy's all legit, okay? I think he's legit. If this thing can sense microbes or anything that's a bad pathogen or toxin in your body and cause a frequency to destroy it, bring out the right frequency to destroy it, well, that takes all the guesswork out of everything. The only disadvantage is you got to stand in one spot to do this, but it's not a waste of time if you freaking feel more energized and you get a lot more done during the day. You see what I'm saying? So if you spend a half an hour or an hour doing this, and it seems like you get twice as much during the day, done during the day. Now after this, I was wearing the Power Zapper CC2. Actually, I was wearing it all night. I had it all, attached to my body. And I'm actually wearing these zappers all the time. I got a theory that when Hulda Clark says the positive offset of the zapper will supercharge the immune system, I think it's supercharging all the blood. Not just the immune system. Everything. Everything that positive offset frequency touches. I think it's an electron donor. Now, he actually claims that this is like an electron donor. Now, I was thinking this before this because, it's like, if one's true, if A is true, it's, in other words, if you're looking at what Hulda Clark's statement was, the positive offset kills all microbes eventually, even if you're using one single frequency. Now, if you have the right frequency, it works even faster. But when you have, the positive offset, it's also doing the opposite to the oppositely charged white blood cells, which are negatively charged. It's an electron donor. So and I'm not sure it's, I can't prove these theories, I can't prove these theories. I know the Hulda Clark Zapper's been around a long time, and it persists because it's not BS. And it's better if the more frequencies, more commonly known frequencies that have been researched to work, even though they're not been approved by the FDA. If you have a lot of different frequencies, I think like Power Zapper's My Plus 3 has, I think, 276 frequencies, so you can hit a lot of stuff with a little zapper. Now, one advantage of the Power Zapper is that it's so small and portable, and the battery disadvantage is not a problem. Sometimes you see people call that a disadvantage because I just use these high-quality rechargeable batteries. You can recharge might be 2,000 times before they go bad, so basically it's not a problem. This is good because he offers a 12-volt version and the AC version. I asked him if it'll work on modified sine wave inverter, and he said yeah. So I was thinking maybe I had to get a pure sine wave inverter to run it out in the field. Well, I could still run this out in the field plugged in. Now, the one thing that's super duper about this, though, if the theory's correct, if the body sensor is actually this orange thing. I was a little confused by, at first when I was looking at this, germ killer. Germ killer's talking about this whole side. The red is the frequency going from 15 hertz to 2500 hertz to 30,000 hertz in sequence. The green is the ground. But even the ground side is getting a frequency. That's what's interesting about this, because if you find the right frequency, even microbes at the green ground side are going to get destroyed. Then, this is your body sensor, the orange. Somehow there's a feedback when it finds a toxin or a microbe. Then the circuitry in there then locks onto that microbe, and then it issues the frequency to destroy that microbe until it's done. Then it goes back on hunt and seek again. So this is actually issuing a frequency that's scanning in conjunction with the body sensor, and then when the body sensor picks something up, the circuitry in here locks this frequency on, combined with the frequencies coming out of the red, so it's sandwiched between two frequencies, and it clobbers it. And I think, so say this locks onto a frequency of I don't know, 26,535. Well, it's also going to be hitting 26,535 even on the ground side. I mean, you're not getting the benefits of the positive offset on the ground side, but you're getting the frequency benefit. If you know the exact frequency, that alone can do the job. You know, I'm a little like, well, I could say one thing, two things. After being pretty tuckered out yesterday from doing all this work and then using this and then feeling re-energized, that was one thing. Subjective, like I said, I didn't plan on using this like almost 4 hours yesterday. I planned on using maybe 30-40 minutes. Kept using it because it felt better, felt more energized. And number two was whatever those hot sprinkles were that I ate, and the side of my tongue was all sore. Probably got like it probably caused it to get infected somehow. I don't know, from the sprinkles you put on food, those hot pepper sprinkles. It went away almost all the way, just with the zapping. And I was like, wow, I didn't think it would reach that area, but maybe it found a microbe circulating through the blood. That was it, that was the problem. So, everything's got pluses and minuses. Like even Spooky 2 has a microbe sensor. You put a pulse sensor on your finger, and it's got biofeedback. Then you find those frequencies that that got hits, right, where you got the hits at, and then you run those frequencies separately. It's a little more complicated, To me, this is like a complex device that's simple to use. In other words, it's got complex features. In other words, you don't have to, like Spooky, you could put any frequency in there. You wouldn't believe how much they added on there. They got dual bass frequencies. They got stuff for everything now. But then, maybe it's, I guess the only thing you got to remember about this is not be stupid and short out the contacts, or make sure the unit's off when you're changing out the plugs and stuff like that. Otherwise, it's going to last. Make sure these foot pads are at least 18 inches away from each other. Usually I have them a good 2 feet apart. That's what I was doing yesterday. It's not hard to use though. It's just like, if you're watching TV or something, or whatever the hell it is, or you're watching something on the internet, a movie, well, it's no big deal. It's so relaxing. And do you feel anything? Yeah, sometimes just barely. I don't want to turn this unit on, but because you're not supposed to turn it on when I'm not using it. I don't know how the hell I'm going to use it with holding the camera, but maybe set it up on a tripod. But it's not a big deal. That's the red light. Usually, what I'll see is a little bit of flicker in these lights. Not so much the green light, but in here, got an orange light and a white light, a red light, and a green light. The orange light is the body sensor. The white is the hunter-killer sweep frequency. The body sensor tells what the frequency is going to be, anywhere from 10,000 to 300,000 hertz, like a rife machine basically, but a contact rife machine. The fact that it finds the right frequency, if that really is true, and I think it probably is true, because I know the technology exists with Spooky. They got a way to find hits in the body whereby you can run those frequencies. Now, it's a little bit of a more elaborate procedure. Now, the other thing you could do, now, there's certain, like I said, there's disadvantages and advantages to everything. Like Spooky might have the most ways you could do something, but it's probably, if you're going to use the contact method, it's the most inconvenient to use, honestly, because you have to have the computer, the generator, the foot pads, the handhelds, and then you check for your biofeedback, or do your analysis, or maybe you're not going to do an analysis. Maybe your doctor told you what your problem was and you want to run the frequencies for that. This, the Power Zapper, I can wear all day. I can wear it anywhere I want. I got like a back brace belt where I can put one of the paddles in. I can put one of the paddles in my foot. I could run it all day. And it runs through these frequencies in these different programs all the time. And they pretty much nail every damn thing there is. I mean, if you're running that thing all day, I mean, remember I told you my body power readings, according to the tester from the ThunderVolt tester, after using the Power Zapper a lot, was very good. So I could be out there, like I was using the Power Zapper yesterday when I was mowing the lawn, for crying out loud, you know? It was on a weight belt, a back brace belt I used to hold the paddles in place. Now this thing, the only disadvantage is you got to stay in one spot, but it's like, but this is all there is to it, just a box, and just don't short out the paddles. Now he's got another thing out there, it's called chopstick, and I was like, what the hell's chopstick? It's actually two antennae. You got a red antenna and a white antenna, and you don't use these. And this antenna work, I think, from 9 to 12 feet away. And make sure you keep them about 3 feet from the head. I don't know if I'm going to get that, because I get these cats in here and they'll say, an antenna, whack, you'll start smacking with their paw, and they'll knock the one antenna to the other antenna, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to use that. But that's probably a damn good thing to use too. Then he's got another thing called the meat zapper with, I don't know, maybe I'll get the chopstick thing later, I don't know, maybe I will. But I'm very, you know, I wish I could test this product and say, well, you know, I guess I'm not going to test it, but I know, you know, common sense would tell me that you could probably put an oscilloscope on this and this, because that's where this meat zapper is, you know, from the red to the green, and you'll read frequencies, 15 hertz, 2500 hertz, and 30,000 hertz. So the meat zapper goes from this, the red, to the green contact down there. That's another thing he has, where you use alligator clips to zap meats for get rid of the parasites. But I would not know. The thing that's really unique about this is this hunter-killer sweep frequency with the body sensor and the variable, you know, the variable output, where it's putting out for anywhere from 10,000 to 300,000 hertz. I wouldn't even know how to test that anyway. But that would be wild if you see all, like, you know, here's coming across a amoeba, protozoa, the bacteria, viri, or whatever type of microbe, and all of a sudden here the sensor picks it up. Bang! You know, if you saw it on camera, that'd be pretty wild. But, you know, I think it's legit, and I do know that the technology is possible from Spooky too, because they have that body sensor thing that clips on your finger. It's a pulse thing. You stay there real set. And I would think, well, I know when you're using a body sensor with Spooky 2, you got to stay perfectly still. But, you know, when you're zapping with this, you're perfectly still. You're not jumping around. You know, in other words, the way it senses the hits is there's a reaction, and it finds something. Then it finds that frequency. You know? So here's the cat. You gotta watch out for these guys. You gotta watch out for these guys. These guys tear up everything. But anyway. I figured, and also this unit, I gorilla taped it to the top of the box. This is my little table. That was the box it came into. I actually painted it black. I painted it blue and yellow on the inside, and I clear coated it. I figured, that's my little table. And everything goes back in there when I'm done with it, so it makes it easy. And but you know, it's a great product because I think this guy's 100% legit, and I know this technology is already out there, but it's like all in one package. Like I said, the only thing to watch out for is don't short out the contacts. And when you're changing this stuff out, make sure the unit's off. And I also have it when it's plugged in there, I'll turn off the surge protector besides turning the unit off, just in case I hit that switch by mistake, you know. But I'm going to be using this thing every day, probably for a good hour a day. And I don't think it's going to be a waste of time. Because if it energizes me even more, and it knocks out anything right at the beginning when it's starting, an hour a day, that's a long session. It's going to be well worth it. So, very happy. Oh, the price was $250. No postage. That's the postage is included. Comes with the instructions, the handhelds, the foot pads, that EMF blocker. And, you know, theoretically, it should be capable of doing anything. So, I don't know. But I'm still using the Power Zapper all the time. I actually still use the Beck Zapper sometimes, too. I'll wear that for an hour or two once in a while. I could wear the Peg Zapper with the TENS pads. I'm theorizing it's not, well, we also know that if your body, you lived in a pristine environment with no microbes, we probably would be living double, triple our lifespan. But I'm also thinking these electronic devices are actually increasing the body's strength. That's one thing he makes a claim on, increase your body power. I've been thinking this for a while with that positive offset, because like I said again, if Hulda Clark is right about it temporarily energizing your white blood cells, it's got to be temporarily energizing all your blood. Because the body cells and the white blood cells have a slight negative charge, normally about a half a volt negative. The positive offset is working like an electron donor. So I'm actually going to hook up, I remember like I put a video out of Power Zapper as an electron donor. This is before I even knew about, I knew I just did that one recently, but years ago, I think a couple years ago, about that possibly can cause it to be, extend life and have immortal blood. But that was before I even heard of this thing. I mean, I heard of this, but I was like, I don't really know what the hell it was, But I got to go by my gut reaction. I think this guy's legit. That's my opinion. I think this guy's legit. Pretty soon you might, I'm going to tell you people, I mean, it's like grab the knowledge, grab the devices while you can, because I think in the future, if millions of people bought these products, the big money people would be out there. I mean, I wouldn't even be able to tell you about them. I bet you they'd have a rule on YouTube to say, "Oh, you can't say that." Internet. That's where to be going. Once it affects the money. This is not a threat to the big industries right now, because these are small operations that are producing these devices. I mean, it's not like millions of people are buying these products, whether it's Spooky Tube, Power Zapper, even the Beck Electrifier. I mean, that thing even has uses to it. Or this product. I personally kind of like this product really a lot, because it takes the guesswork out of things. And if you're doing a 4-point contact method, it should get results pretty quick. The thing is, I already have good body power, very good body power, from using the Power Zapper extensively. I'm assuming from using that product. So, I mean, I'm not going to be able to measure results, but I can just tell you what I felt yesterday. Yeah, it's very difficult for me to, I think I went too long on this. I think it's very difficult for me to give you a perfectly accurate assessment of what everything does. Theoretically, this one should be really, really super. And I guess if you wanted to make the components heavy duty, where if you short them out temporarily, it's not going to affect nothing, the handhelds, I guess you could do it, but then the price would go way the hell up, So he's keeping the price down. So that's your trade-off, But otherwise, the unit should last a long time. It should last many years. So, my advice is to use a surge protector and not just turn it off here, but turn it off at the surge protector, so when you switch in the wires, you know it's off and you don't actually hit that switch by mistake. Keep your foot pads a good 18 inches apart. On a towel, this is on a double rug, there's a rug over rug, so it's all insulated. Make sure the floor's got no moisture or wetness on it or anything. And make sure, you know, it's amazing how it works, though. To me, it just definitely did energize the body quite a bit. So that sold me right there. That sold me. So I don't know. Everybody's results are going to vary, because you got to remember, I've been zapping now for a while, so maybe all the microbes are pretty much out of me. When you first start this, you really want to do 10 minutes, then give yourself a rest and drink a bunch of water, then do 10 minutes. I went into it a lot because I already had been zapping about good 16 hours a day with the zapper. And right, cat, what are you doing? That's Mr. Putin the cat. So I figured I pretty much didn't have any microbes anyway, you know. Right? Anyway, wish I could teach that cat to freaking zap. That'd be pretty wild. Be a 50-year-old cat running around all over the place someday.